Welcome back, survivalists. So in my opinion, there's certain items that every man should keep in his home so that him and his family are prepared during emergency situations. And not just natural disasters, but also much more common situations like pipes freezing and bursting or a window breaking during a bad storm. So today I'm going to run through what I think are the 10 items every man should keep in his home. So the first item on that list is going to be a fireproof safe. So as you get older, you start accumulating more and more critical and important documents. And there are people that literally stick things like their wedding certificate and birth certificate and bank account statements just in a drawer somewhere or in their dresser. All of those critical, important documents need to go into a fireproof safe like this, or even a much larger safe. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One, this is going to provide some level of security. Obviously, a much larger safe would provide more security. Somebody could walk away with this, but at least having those documents in here, you're far less likely that if you have a friend come over or a neighbor or a house cleaner that they're gonna walk off with one or two of your documents without you noticing it. I also highly recommend that everybody has complicated and unique passwords for their bank accounts and their email accounts and everything else. And you can keep a copy of those passwords in a safe like this. And so not only is this going to provide a certain level of security, something like this is going to keep all those documents safe if the most common disaster happens to you, which is a house fire. If your entire house burnt down, you know all your critical documents, your social security cards, your bank statements, your title to your home, your title to your car, all of that is going to be safe. I gotta be honest, if a house completely burnt down and I lost my computer and my cell phone and my wallet and my birth certificate and marriage certificate and I lost everything, I can't even imagine how you'd go about rebuilding and starting your life all over again. At least with a safe like this, you have all those critical documents that'll make it so much easier for you to rebuild your life again from scratch. And so I'm dead serious about this. If you do not have even a small fireproof safe like this, you can buy something like this, $30, $40 from Home Depot. You can get them on Amazon. This is the minimum thing that every homeowner needs, a fireproof safe like this. If you don't have this, I want you to go and buy this at the end of this video, or you can invest in a much larger safe as well, which will provide you a much higher level of security. So the next item on the list is going to be a complete tool set. So screwdrivers, ratchets, pliers, wrenches, Allen wrenches, drills, all those tools every guy should have in his home. This is going to help you in all those little emergency situations that pop up where you have a pipe that bursts or a leaky faucet or a door that's kind of come off its hinges. All these little problems that are going to emerge, that is what you need these tools for. And if you are a homeowner, or even a renter, or even just own a car, these little problems are going to emerge, and they're going to emerge quite often. Every man needs a complete tool set in his home. Now, you can just buy these items individually, kind of piece things together as you go along, but you can also just buy a complete toolkit like this, which has, 70-80% of everything that you need already in there. And if you don't have a tool set yet, buying a package like this that has almost everything in there already may be a good place to start. And then from there, you can continue to add on when you see good deals. I love going to yard sales and estate sales looking for tools. You can find great deals on old tools and everything at these types of sales. But I'm in the camp that you can almost never have too many tools. Like, I'm sure that there is a limit to when you have too many tools, but it's pretty far down there. And I'm always buying extra tools and extra gear when I go to flea markets and I go to yard sales and I see a good deal. But every man needs to have a complete set of tools in his home somewhere. The next item on the list is going to be a full Tang knife. So most men probably have a pocket knife somewhere, and you can tell it's a pocket knife because it has a hinge in there and it folds open and shut. What I'm saying though is every man needs to have a full Tang knife. So this full Tang knife, the blade itself continues on into the handle. It's all just one big piece of steel here, and this makes it so much stronger. There are a lot of jobs that if I tried using a pocket knife like this, it would just break. If I put too much pressure on there, this pocket knife will literally snap right there. This though, you can put a tremendous amount of pressure on a full Tang knife like this without having it break. You can actually use this with a baton to baton wood and split logs and split woods. And there's just a lot of jobs where you need a full Tang knife to do a certain job, and a pocket knife like this just won't suffice. Now, I don't recommend that you carry this as your everyday carry knife. That really is where the pocket knife comes in handy. I think it's a little ridiculous when I see people walking around with a full Tang knife like this on their hip, maybe at the mall or a shopping center or something like that. It's just a little dumb, honestly. But I do recommend that you have this at least at your house for emergency situations. For jobs like splitting wood or gutting an animal or even self-defense, a full Tang knife is the proper tool for those jobs, not a pocket knife, and every man should have at least one full Tang knife somewhere in their home. The next item on the list is going to be cash. And yes, I recommend that every man keeps a few $100s worth of cash in his home at all times, ideally in your safe as well. And this is going to be used in emergency situations in cases like citywide blackouts. Last winter in Texas, we saw the winter blackouts that lasted several weeks in some areas. All these stores as well lost power, the gas stations, the grocery stores. Now they still had resources that they could sell to consumers. They couldn't do it with credit cards. They were only accepting cash. And this is why I think everybody needs to have a little bit of cash on hand. So if the gas station is out of power and you're out of power, you need gasoline for your generator, or you need some water, you need some food for your family, you can still purchase those items even without any power. Just make sure you stick it away someplace safe where nobody else is going to find it and you're not tempted to spend it. The next item on the list is going to be a good winter jacket. You'd be very surprised at how many people do not have a warm jacket. So I'm not talking about a rain jacket or a windbreaker, but something that's literally going to keep you warm. A couple ways you can go with this. You can go with something like this with some woodland camouflage. I got this back in basic training and when I was in the Air Force, and this is a very warm jacket. This would definitely suffice. Or you can go with something, you know, a little bit more modern. This is what I usually wear when I go out camping. It's water resistance, it's got plenty of pockets, it is incredibly warm. But I'm just always surprised by how many people do not have a warm winter jacket. Even if you are in a warmer climate, you still need a warm jacket somewhere in your home for emergency situations. Again, going back to that winter blackout in Texas, those people were not prepared for those types of winter and freezing cold, sub-freezing cold conditions. And I'm sure a lot of people did not have the appropriate attire for that type of situation. So even if you're down in Texas, like, you don't know when you're gonna hit a winter storm like that. Every man needs a good warm winter jacket in his home. The next item that every man should have is emergency food rations. There's a lot of different ways you can go with this. You can buy something like these survival tabs, which are just fuel for your body that tastes like absolute crap. Or you can buy individual freeze-dried packaged meals like this. You can buy larger containers that have enough for several meals. Or you can even just buy an entire Tupperware container like this, which has enough meals for an entire family for a certain amount of days. Or you can just stock up on extra food that you normally buy. Now the challenge with that is that most food doesn't have that long of a lifespan, so you just got to be conscious of that and kind of cycle through it. So if you buy extra cans of soup, you know, don't expect to leave them there for 6 years and then they'll be just fine. You need to actually consume those, buy more. But whatever direction you want to go with this, every man needs to have extra food in his house for those emergency situations when you can't leave your house. If there's a bad blizzard, a bad power outage in your entire city, if the roads are eroded because of a bad flood or a storm, you don't want to be caught without having food in your home, right? Even if there's just shortages in the grocery stores of, you know, necessary food. During the pandemic, at the very start of the pandemic, everybody was freaking out. I did not have to rush to the grocery store. I did not have to go to the grocery store at all. For the first like 2 months, I didn't leave my house at all. I didn't know how bad everything was gonna get. Luckily, I had more than enough food for me and my family to just kind of bunker in and shelter in place and kind of ride that thing out. And during the peak of it, I didn't have to go and expose myself to this possible virus because I had all this extra food stocked up, right? You don't really know what the situations are, but at a minimum, I would say everybody should have about a week's worth of food in their home for emergency situations. The next item that every man should keep in his home is a roll of duct tape, maybe even multiple rolls of duct tape. So duct tape's reputation is well earned. Duct tape is so freaking versatile. There are so many use cases for duct tape. If you're in an emergency situation, you have a leaky pipe, you can do a temporary fix, maybe even a permanent fix with duct tape. You have a broken window, you can do a temporary fix with duct tape. You have a tear in your clothes, you can fix that with duct tape. You have a bad cut on your arm, you can put some bandages on there and then wrap it up with duct tape. There are just so many use cases for duct tape. If you go back to the winter blackout in Texas last winter, a lot of people have these little air gaps around their doors and windows, and in that situation, it's just letting freezing cold air into your home. I would have grabbed some duct tape and ran this along the seams of every single door and window in my home. If you want to seal up all the air vents in one of your rooms, right, you can do that with duct tape. It's unlimited the amount of stuff that you can do with duct tape that you can fix with duct tape. This absolutely is an essential item that I think that every man should keep in his home. The next item on the list is going to be a fire extinguisher. It is scary how many people do not have a fire extinguisher in their homes. Every single home should have at least one fire extinguisher, if not multiple fire extinguishers in their homes. House fires are the #1 most common occurring disaster scenario pretty much globally, right? Probably, I am willing to bet that more people die of house fires than die of tornadoes, hurricanes, getting lost in the woods, floods, any of these things. More people die from not having a fire extinguisher in their home than any of those things. It really bugs me when I hear people who do not have a fire extinguisher in their home. If you have a family and you do not have a fire extinguisher, screw you, man. Stop spending money on video games and going out to the movies. Buy one of these things right now. Stop the video, go to Amazon, order 2 fire extinguishers, do next day shipping, get them to your house. And you need to keep in mind that these things do go bad. You need to check them every now and then. They have a little pressure gauge in there. You just gotta make sure that needle's in the green area. But 100%, if you are a homeowner or a renter, or you just live in a house, which everybody does, you need to have a fire extinguisher, if not multiple fire extinguishers throughout your home. The next item on the list is going to be a battery charger. This is absolutely turning into like an essential item for me. Just in the last couple of years, these things have come way down in price. I use this whenever I go traveling and whenever I go to the airport. I can fully charge my phone while I'm in the airplanes with these, which I love. I can also charge my computer, charge my cameras from these as well. But these things are so affordable today. Now this is a much larger one. I usually carry a much smaller one around with me quite often. This one primarily stays at home, or I put it in my backpack if I'm doing a much longer trip. But if I were to lose power, I could literally charge my phone 6-7 times off of this thing right here. And during emergency situations, I absolutely consider your phone the most important survival item that you have. Now you can go with a much smaller one than this, you can go with a medium-sized one like this, or you can go with something like this. This is the EcoFlow Delta. It is a whole home portable battery system with both AC and DC outlets on there. And you can charge this thing from your car, from your wall outlet, from solar panels, and it's somewhat portable. You can bring this around to your parents' house if they lose power. You can bring it with you camping. You can bring this up to your living room, your dining room, wherever you need to, if you want to hook up a portable heater or something like that, or a heating blanket during the winter. But I absolutely believe that these portable power systems like this are turning into an essential item just because our phones are so important. At a minimum, get something like this, something somewhat substantial. This will run you about $30, $40, maybe $50 on Amazon. If you can afford it, you can buy a much larger battery system like this, and this is really an alternative to a traditional gas generator. These will run you much more. This is usually close to $1,000 for a much larger system like that. But at a very minimum, buy one of these larger battery backup systems. It's got a good sized solar panel on there as well, so you can leave this out in the sun during the day to charge this, so you have almost an indefinite source of power for your cell phone. The next item on the list is going to be a source of light. I am always blown away by the number of people who do not have a flashlight or a lantern in their home. And yes, of course, your phone does have a flashlight on it if you do lose power, but your phone is such a critical and life-saving survival tool. I don't want you squandering the power of your phone just to have some light. You need a separate light source somewhere in your home. Now, a lot of different directions you can go with this, and I'm not going to get angry at you no matter what direction. You can get a traditional flashlight like this. This is a really heavy-duty one that does have a rechargeable battery in there, so you can charge this from your car, or charge it from one of your rechargeable power stations. You can go with a headlamp if you want. Headlamps are incredibly useful, especially if you have to fool around with something, you have to fix something, you have to flip the circuit breakers. Having a headlamp frees up both your hands. But what I really like is these solar powered options, right? You can go with something like this from Luminade. This is a solar powered LED inflatable lantern. So lanterns cast an omnidirectional light. They kind of fill up an entire room with light rather than a directional flashlight. And I'm a big fan of these Luminades. If you just want to check this item off the list, by all means, go with the Luminade for emergency situations. I love that it has the rechargeable solar light here as well, so you have almost an indefinite source of light for you during emergency situations. I'm also a big fan of hybrid light. So they make solar panels built into their flashlights. This one has a directional flashlight up here or a bank of LEDs here, so you can kind of have some options with that. And what I love about this is this is almost meant for preppers. It also has an AC wall outlet plug right there, so you literally could just keep this plugged into an outlet all the time and always know you have a full charge on this and be prepared for emergency situations. This type of light was meant for preppers, and you can also charge your phone off of this as well. So it almost serves as like a battery backup as well, right? And this one's by Hybrid Light. I'm a big fan of both those options, but you need something. You need some sort of light source, whether it's a directional light or a lantern or a solar lantern, solar light, whatever you want. You just need some sort of light source in your home for when the power goes out. And I will have links to my recommendations for items in all these different categories down in the description below. If you do not have a fireproof safe or a fire extinguisher yet, go down there right now and buy one on Amazon today. If you want to check out what I think are the 10 items that every man should carry on him daily, you can check out my video right here breaking those down. Don't forget to subscribe for more prepping and survival videos. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you over in the next video.